How's it going, everybody? It's Alexander Williamson here with the secret history living in your aquarium. How's everybody doing? Let's have a talk. So, the first line of business tonight is that we have a $50 gift certificate that we got to give away. And I reckon the way we should give it away is the way I said we should. So that's going to be whoever had the most likes in the comment section on that video. Which means unsophisticated, fishticated, unshow, fish, so unshow dash fish dash cated. You have won $50 to Aquatic Arts. Please just email me at alexanderjwilliamson@gmail.com. No spaces or nothing fancy. That's all you gotta do. So there's that out of the way. Congratulations. Now the next thing is we're going to be giving away a $100 gift certificate to Aquatic Arts this week. So if you're watching now, you are going to get a little head start on that knowledge. So how's everybody doing? Let me just see all the folks that came in here. Let's see here. Unsophisticated. I see you. I see you was in here. You were in here early. I set this thing for. I wonder if anyone got alerts. I set this this live stream for 9:29, and I'm just curious to see if anyone got updates an hour early or half hour early, or how that works. Because sometimes people are like, "Oh yeah, I get them all," and other people say they get half, and some people say they don't get any, even though they're signed up. So I don't know. I don't know. But Mark Hansard says this should be perfect. I just set up a 20-gallon long and didn't really want to cram a heater in it. Well, it's the perfect time of year to not cram heaters and things. Let's see here. Last time I didn't hear the answer to my question. Dead Pro Bobo. Okay, ask your question again. If I didn't get to it. I find that most tanks end up in the low mid 70s from the heat my pumps produce. Wow, that's pretty cool. That's something that a lot of people don't know. So let's take a look at what's going on in the fish room. So the fish room, right now, I thought I was moving, as a lot of you know, and that didn't happen. That was delayed, and the house that we had put the money on and applied for, it fell through. So right now this is going to be the home base plus the tanks upstairs and outside. But I think I can live with that. But that's a good point. Somebody just mentioned that tanks and lights and all sorts of things that are just in your aquarium, they make a lot of energy. And because they, or I should say, they use and transform a lot of energy. And because of this, we get all sorts of energy into the water. So, for instance, in this tank, you'd have a pretty low amount, honestly, because we've got a very low-powered LED. See how the LED nodes, there's only like 15 in this whole bar? It's very, very cool to the touch. Whereas something like a twin star or another kind of, whoops, I just knocked over this lid. Sorry guys, let me set this back up. Something like a twin star, or even something like one of the Fluval planted 3.0s is going to produce some energy. And because of that, I need to get a better lid. I have a lid, I just didn't find it earlier today. For some reason, all these shrimp want to get out of their holding tank, their quarantine tank, right on this corner here. And I don't know what the deal is. But when we say unheated, that can mean several things. So depending on what part of the country you're in, that may mean that you just have a tank that's sitting like this, and that's all that's required of the heat. Now, in other parts of the country, where like here, for instance, it gets very cold. Not as cold as like Minnesota or something, but it gets pretty cold a lot of the year in the winter and in the fall and in the spring even, and sometimes in the summer. And so you end up needing to have some heat usually for most tropical fish. But as you guys know, there are a lot of pond fish and subtropical fish that actually don't need a heater. And so, by that definition, let's say if we're saying don't need a heater and it's an indoor nano tank, let's say that that means it is in a house that's within a range of temperature that would be livable and comfy for the average person. Now, they say the average person keeps their house at 68 degrees Fahrenheit in the US. I don't know. I keep mine a little cooler than that. But regardless, I think as long as the tank stays above 60 and below 75, that's really the range we're talking about. Anything lower than that, a lot of these fish can withstand if it's gradual gradual and then, kind of like it would changing to night on a cold evening. They can take that, or they can take it suddenly, as in when they dive down into deep water, and just for a moment they can be cold. But they can't really take ups and downs and ups and downs and shocks over and over. Check out this male, how he is displaying right now. By the way, this is the new project I'm working on, taking the rainbow endlers that I have originally from Lucas Brett's, that were pretty much stark yellow and with some green and blue around the edges and white. And now I've started changing them by selecting out of the thousands I've had this spade to paddle tail. I think I'll probably keep it more paddly than spade, just so the size shows color a little bit better. But now we're getting some of the reds back in these three males that I kept. So these three males will have this really nice red trait, and then hopefully their children, their offspring, I'll be able to select from. See how this one has that black lining all the way around the tail? The other one has it just around part of it. Obviously, like most of my live streams, if you are saying, Alex, you didn't finish your thought, we were supposed to be talking about non-heated tanks and nano tanks, and then you started talking about lights and heaters, and then you dropped some shrimp stuff, and then you started talking about endlers. Well, I'm sorry. That's just kind of how it rolls. We look at questions. We go where the show takes us. I could sit down and just read off a script. That's what my videos are when I post a video, when I post up a video. And, I could also do the thing where a lot of people do in live streams where they just sit at a table and answer questions, have a nice little scenery or fish tank in the background, play a loop or something. And honestly, that is the easiest for me. But I like to be able to show you guys what's going on, so that even if you're listening, you can enjoy if you're not watching, and if you're watching and you can't quite hear, or you're just kind of have it on in the background during a water change or something, you can also still look over, enjoy things. And then obviously if you want to key in on anything important or rewind, hopefully it's the best of both worlds and we get somewhere. But like I was saying, tanks like this, they don't really get a lot of heat. It's got a filter that is moving water, and when you put energy into water, there's a little impeller or turbine that has to turn the water, and there's an electric motor, and it's telling it to turn. And by the way, all my heaters are off anyways. It's been very warm this week. They're more in here for in the winter when it gets really cold, or or fall or spring here too. But if it gets very cold and then all of a sudden we have an issue where I need the tank is getting really cold, like I'll have it turn on at 72. So that's pretty low for a lot of fish, like things like angelfish and stuff would actually probably be in trouble by the time that the heater turned on most of these tanks. Now the angel tank is different; it's set up different. But I suggest for your own money savings, one, LEDs majorly. I mean, some of these are 18 watt, 30 watt, 32, 36, 40. You know, even this Fluval 3.0, I don't remember offhand. Maybe somebody knows, but it's not a real high wattage, so you get a lot of light out of it. But that's not going to heat things like the old lights used to. So you can see here on the new model, there's a heat sink built into the top of this light, and some lights that used, if it had enough light to produce beautiful plants, it was going to get pretty darn hot usually. And so in this case, they've really worked it into the casing and everything so that the heat goes up too, and heat rises anyways. So you kind of want to think about those things. You know, I've got a window here. Are you on exterior walls? Is there I'm on the second floor here too, actually. And so one, you want to put your tanks around the perimeter, but two, heat rises, so it's coming up from the neighbor's unit, and then also we're losing heat because there's a floor above, and so just things like that. Consider as you're designing where you're going to put your tanks and things. I make sure that the tank that I want to have the warmest and everything has redundancy. So there's a heater on this side, a heater on this side. That meant I had to make plans for the plugs. And then, you know, tanks that are staying the coolest of all, I'm keeping still by the window, but they're also away from the heat of the washer and dryer and everything in the other room. There's blankets on this wall. There's blankets and felt and cardboard, which is an insulator here. There's all sorts of electrical pumps and things, which honestly, this has been a mess. Don't do as I do as I say. If you feel like it. But even this is warm to the touch. Let's play a game real quick here, because it's pretty fundamental to keeping cool water tanks. And then I'll show you the 4 tanks that I really have set up in here as cool water or unheated tanks, and kind of a couple different ways you can do it, including one that is a 5th bonus that we'll start with, that's kind of a cheat, but it's a cool product, so I want to show it to you because I've used it heavily. Today I made $200 essentially off of selling baby Corridoras that I bred using the method that we'll talk about. But in any case, so here's this heat gun, thermal. So right now the shrimp tank here is 77 degrees. This guy hanging off the side, 76. And the water itself, sometimes you can actually see 76 at the surface, but and this isn't going to tell you anything but the glass, and glass diffuses heat quite a bit. But what you can do is you can take something like a turkey baster, you can put it down it to the bottom, get some water, and then put it into another container. If I had one handy, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? If I planned things for this show, yeah, that'd be good. Okay, so if I put it in here, you guys think it's gonna be 76? You think it's gonna be hotter, colder, what? 72. So 72 degrees at the bottom, knowing that the heater is not on. So 72 degrees versus up here, we're at 76. So the lights plus hot air rising, just like in a lake, the water below is going to be cooler. Well, if you have a tank that's more than a foot or so, then you're really having some changes in the heat in your tanks. Also, just surface reflectivity of light. Even if it is LED light, even if it's not producing, if it's not wavelengths that tend to produce heat radiation, you can find surfaces like the face of a rock, maybe 76, whereas the darker green leaves, maybe more like 75. I don't know. but measuring through the glass is not accurate. So, nor is through the water. It's going to give you a little bit of distortion. But you can see that this side of the tank, away from all the gear, is 75, whereas if we measure right in the gear and on the rocks, we get 76, 78. Up into this corner where the water's moving and everything. Let's see. Let's go right by the or the inflow. And I know that 2 degrees doesn't seem like a big deal, but it adds up. It does. So yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. And then literally right near it, the timer on this thing, 82 degrees, and I just got a reading that was very hot a moment ago. Okay, so for instance here, 94. So that, just the fact that that's near this glass, it is indirectly all night heating the glass. The glass here is 82 degrees, so that is heating. So just some stuff to think about. That can work for you or against you. It just depends on what you want to do. Most of the time, as long as it's not something really like a really big power inverter or a power strip or a big, old school light or something, you're gonna be okay. You won't have to worry about it. But just something, like I said, to think about. So the other tank right now, this tank has no heater running in it. So this would be my first type of tank that I would like to mention, and then I'll read some of your comments again. Say hello to everybody. By the way, I better say it one more. You know what? Let's pause. We'll take a pause because I said I was going to start with the bonus anyways, but I'm in my ADD mood tonight. So we are going to say that the winner forgot to say everything, but Unsophisticated is the winner of the $50 gift card. Just message me through my email, buddy, and we'll take care of you. And also the $100 gift card from Aquatic Arts. I'll be giving that away this week, and I wanted your guys's, girls's, folks' help deciding what we should do for that. We did a trivia game one time. We did guess what fish I just got, something like that. But I like it where we do something where everybody voted, because it's very clear everybody clicked his or her idea for using $50 at aquaticarts.com, who's sponsored a lot of the fish in my fish room. I mean, I'll buy $100 worth, and they'll send me 2 or 3 species to complement it, and say, hey, just show them in your videos, and you can have them. That's kind of where we're at now. And then a few years ago, we worked out a deal where, if you didn't know, I have an affiliate link, and they said, if people use your code, which is secret history, all caps, no spaces, and then the letter 15, secret history 15, that's for your first time, 15% off your entire order. Second time, secret history 10. Now, I know if you spend $200, you get 15% off. So I'm going to talk to them about changing that so that it works for that as well, so it's the same kind of deal. But the other thing that both those codes do that I hope you guys know is that would be money that's earmarked, so they see that it came from the YouTube, from our community here, you guys. And that then means that money, 5% of that money, usually they would pay to a creator, someone like whoever, Aquarium Co-op may do that. They say, support our brand, and in exchange, we'll give you free stuff, just show it off, and we'll give you 5% cut of whatever we sell, after we account for taxes and profits and all that. Well, you guys have bought enough stuff, and I decided early on that it would help pay for itself better. I said, the main thing I want to accomplish, and they helped me out, and they, like last time, they gave me shrimp. So I want to keep that clear and everything too. That like they've gone above and beyond. So I do have a bias, but I shopped with them long before, and I don't want to talk about them for the whole show. But I just want to explain that whenever you use those codes and buy something, it also puts money into the account that then we can give away later. So for the holidays coming up, anybody who uses these codes now until the holidays, hopefully will have $1,000, $500. Who knows? It's going to be 5% of the gross profits, or the yes, gross profits of whatever you guys buy. So that's the other incentive to use it, because you could win. And usually we do 20 winners for the holidays or so. We've given away up to a $400 package, and then of shrimp and all sorts of stuff, like a whole setup. We set up a teacher with a 75-gallon tank and everything in it. It's fully stocked, plants and everything. So there's been some really cool stuff. They work with a lot of charities and also with teachers and things. So I appreciate them, and I want to keep that tradition going. I would rather forego earning another 5% or whatever it is, which isn't really 5% of the sale price. A lot of the fish they make, they have to account for their however they do it. So I would say for every $100, 5% of the profit usually ends up being something like $2 or $1. So unless they start selling millions, then I might say, oh, actually, I will take my share fully. But for now, I'm happy to keep reinvesting it into giving it back to you guys, and also when I order something, they'll say, "Hey, we'll throw in those other critters," and kind of works that way as the other form of payment on the agreement. So that's that, and let's see here. I just wanted to see who's in here. Blake Broussard, hello. Drench Aquaculture, how are you doing, my friend? Ian Atkins, hey, I hope you're having a great day too. Mark Hansard, Ian Atkins, let's see here. Oh yeah, you guys were all really early. That's odd. Fake name. What's up, Sunny Doan? Chevy Fish. How's it going, buddy? Your average fish keeper. Leo Brush it off, Pana. Crystal's Pets and Plants. How are you doing, Crystal? Jackson Tax. Your name. I always stop and I'm like. Taylor. Stephen Thomas, Rob Thomas. No, I'm just kidding. Antron, Tran, Ontron, I feel like I'm messing it up. Ontron is what I'll say. The Yeti. Oh, cool. You're going to Skagit River tomorrow. And I see that. So I know I'm gonna say that I missed your questions, but just hold off for a minute. I just wanted to see who's in here. Carla, welcome. And you'll have to answer ask your questions again. J Hall Aquatics, hello. Cichlids 23 and Chad C and Big Tank Hank, I like that one. Aqua Balls, what up, brother? Jerry Serple Morris. And okay, we're almost there. Ramon Torres, hello. Your average fish keeper, your average white band, play that funky music. Robinski. Ooh, Aquaballs, I just happened to see that. You breed alien betta, huh? I would really enjoy some of those. We'll have to talk. Lisa Perez, hello. And then, okay, man, you guys have been talking a lot. All right. Okay, we're back. I'm down there at Lisa Perez with High Crystal Pets and Plants, and I know we're already into the episode deep. So let me talk about this cheat, this tank cheat of how you can keep a cool water tank, or basically heat a tank for kind of free. It's not for free, but it it helps. And that's this little product. This is a fry keeper. I have a link, I believe, in the description to the product on Amazon if you do want it. But what it does is it just runs off an air hose, or you could hook up an impeller, like a little, like one of these, ripped out of a filter of some sort, like a hang off the back. You could run it off one of those to have it push water into here, up through the tube. But basically, this is pushing water in, and like you saw with the heat, with the thermal radiation reading gun, it's 75 degrees and it's 75 degrees. So this, for quarantine, the only thing is it's sharing water. So for quarantine, literally about like if there's some parasite or something in the water that's they're putting out that's bad, it doesn't work the best for that. When I say quarantine, literally I've never had a problem with aquatic arts stuff in, I guess, 4 or 5 years, and 3 really heavily with the channel. So I just like to watch them for a while and make sure that they're happy, healthy, get to know kind of the coloration they're going to be and all that stuff. Why in the heck they're swimming up to the top there nonstop. Maybe it's just they feel the current. They think it's an outflow. It's a way to get upriver. I don't know. But yeah, these boxes to hang off the side that have water flow. That way you don't get stagnant water at all either. And then it just has a little spillway over the side. So this will get cooler eventually. But the other little trick that I'm sure a lot of you have seen or know is you can buy these. There's also links to these. But you can get these, which is where I've got the other half of the shrimp. I just split them up to watch them. I think they're up under here hanging out, hiding. Yep. Man, their green shrimp just look phenomenal. And they all molted as they got here. So pretty cool. I don't know. I'm excited that they molted. And they're hanging out, doing their thing. So I can keep an eye on them. But this is obviously, you can put this on the outside of the tank. So they're just kind of like little tanks. I'm not counting that as one of the main ways. But like here, I've got a whole thing full of eggs. Focus, enhance, enhance. Come on. Eggs. I don't know. Can you guys see all those eggs? All them eggs. So there's a bunch of Medaka eggs in there. They can't get as hot as this, but I need them to be a little warm. So the top water says 70 degrees here. 68. That's better. 68. That's where I want my rice fish. But so check this out. This tank is supposed to be fairly warm because the angelfish and all their babies, which are hanging out here. Those are not eggs, but they are sticky-headed babies right now. Look at them all. So we'll see. Is 5th time a charm? Can they figure it out? I don't know. We'll find out. Prince and Vanity. We'll find out if they can have their babies. But, I mean, over here, the ambient air / room temperature is 68 in here, even the cooler tile, 70, 71 on this. But if I were to take the turkey baster, which I'd done earlier, this surface is cooling down a lot, but just the heat of the day and the heat of the room being an ambient 78 when I point, that was hot. Why was it hot? Oh, because I was standing there. Duh. That's fine. This thing will hold heat, and then the heaters will click on if need be. But over here, I want this to stay cool, so I've got it near the window. And yeah, that's a little wasteful to have the window open, but I can always close it to have it open and just kick on the heater. But that's why you'll put your heater down below. And the other trick is to put heaters at near the outflow, depending on how you have your outflows. This one's very slow. It's more for my the gobies and the loaches and all the little critters that eat algae, pandagars, and things like that. I'll submerge this spillway in the water so that they can eat it. They'll jump up there and munch on it, but that's pretty bold when they do that. And then over here we've got the faster running, and then usually some airlines and some CO2 too. Some CO2 too. So you guys, we were talking also about the project to win the Crystal Kesselman book of I mean, it's the Bible, the encyclopedia of every aquatic plant in the hobby and more. 750 plus species, just incredible color pictures. But right now, I just set up this little 5.5 gallon or whatever it is, 6.5 gallon. Um, just playing around, but this is my little homage to. It was just going to be a Medaka nursery and hatchery for the season, nice and shallow and everything. But now it's going to also be my aquascape, so to speak. There's grasses planted and some tissue culture, so we'll see what we can do in a month. And once we get into trimming and things like that, hopefully it'll look a little better. It'll look a little better. uh, but I mean, look at this plant already is just looking beautiful. The Hygrophila polysperma variegated, looking good. All the crypts I put in here melted. It's probably too cold for them, honestly. Uh, and then the other tank that is in the dark, kind of. This is where I got the majority of my little. This should be my coolest tank, I'm guessing. 68 degrees. So this is where the majority of my little Florida Okefenokee swamp and Gilbert Eye, the pygmy sunfish. Sorry guys, I was like stalling. Dwarf or pygmy sunfish, a little blue and black fella, the male, and then the female's like a little clear fish. They're like a type of little pupfish or killifish. So they only need that bowl. They need no filtration whatsoever. They just need moss, and that's enough biofilm. They have such small little bodies that even a gallon or two of water, they're not going to produce enough waste. You overfeeding is what is likely going to cause a problem. So that's going to be your introductory. That's easier than a goldfish bowl. I mean, you can put a betta or a goldfish in a bowl like that, but it's awful. It makes the water dirty so quick. You better be changing that water every day. And if you're not if there's no filter or anything, better completely change the water every day, and just it never cycles with beneficial bacteria. You just have clean water and get the ammonia and nitrates out. It's hard on their immune systems, and yeah, it may work, but it's not the best. You're better off to plant a tank like this, put substrate in the bottom, even of a goldfish bowl, and put some moss or something in there so that there is an ecosystem, so that there are biological things in there, so that little algae and surface aufuks and various critters and creepy, grimy, slimies occur, so that way the fish or shrimp can graze. And that's exactly what's going on here. You see what has developed on this stone, which was in that container there. Remember, these guys were up in my kitchen for the better part of almost 2 years now, with shrimp, not heated, right next to the window. And I didn't use, I used chlorinated tap water. That being said, we have low chlorination here. Okay, so then the next step up here would be this style. When you've got a shallow tank, you can do this with those Rubbermaids that you would store underneath your bed. You could also do this with a bin from like a Granger or from Storageables or one of those kind of places. But when you keep a shallow tank, it's going to change the temperature with the room. The more surface area exposed you have, the quicker it can dissipate. Now, water traps heat pretty well. I mean, okay, this is on a scale that's relative. So some people may say, no way, it does not. But better than some things. So it's gonna act as a heat sink. So whether it's cold or hot or whatever, it will adjust to that. And the more surface area that's exposed, the more that'll happen. So if you want to keep it warmer, put a lid on it, wrap it with a fleece blanket. I've made videos on it. But doing things like aerating a tank are also ways to cool it down. So as this is going on, you don't just have water changing states into a gas and evaporating with boiling, but there's also the point when it just does that on its own through condensation and evaporation processes. So you can control these and thus doing that will control the temperature quite a bit in these systems. So, and it should be the same relatively everywhere because it's so shallow. It should be very, very consistent. Um, Whereas my 40 upstairs, my 40, the lights went out on this guy. My 40 bow front, that one is going to store that heat, and the heat's going to kind of hide in the bottom for us. Now, this is the one that really inspired. Sorry, guys, I just had to get on my knees. This is the one that inspired me the most lately. And yes, I will answer your question soon. So hang tight, folks, and we'll kind of weave it all together. But I moved all my coal shrimp from my Little Red Riding Hoods from Aquatic Arts, my Luminatus, which they do like a little bit warmer water, but since it's summer, an unheated tank doesn't necessarily mean a cold, miserable tank. I mean, you saw this 75, 76. That's pretty warm. I mean, some people keep their tank with a heater much cooler than that. They keep it at 72. You should probably, for tropical fish, I think 78 is kind of the magical number. For, angels, discus, many cories and things like that. But for shrimp, for paradise fish, for bettas, gouramis, quite a few tetras, any sort of danio, a lot of these gobies, really anywhere between 65 and 70 are 72 are just fine. So here we have the gold neon goby, Aquatic Arts also, thank you guys. And then we've got the riffle goby from Palau, and then over there we have the neon blue goby from Indonesia and Malaysia. But this tank was set up, and this would be a Hillstream cool tank or unheated tank. And it actually, even though it is cool in the winter, I'm very curious to find out if I need a heater. Because even though I know I just said it's unheated or it's a cool tank, we've got this power head that I plug in half the day. We've got another mini power head or water pump. Then we've got an uncloggable air stone or never clog air stone. And we have a hang off the back filter. So, and it's a long tank. So there's quite a bit of surface area for evaporation. So we really do have the possibility of quite a bit of loss of heat in here. Now these plecos, they're going to need to be warmer. They're babies. It's summer, so they're in here just for space. But they gotta go. The shrimp, they will be just fine and dandy. The ruby tetras, they should be somewhere else after summer. But this is kind of that magic season for me, for us in Seattle area, because we can kind of keep a lot of different, we can keep things in a lot of different situations because of that, that are kind of in between. It's this purgatory of not too hot, not too cold. I love these guys though, and this is a Hillstream tank is even a Nano, even if it was 10 gallons, it'd be harder to have the power head, but I'm going to show you in a minute what you can do, because the Hillstream, really what that connotates is that your tank it's set up for creatures that live in high flow, high oxygen water, highly oxygenated water. But a lot of these fish are so small that they really don't want the high speed that you would think they need from rapids or things like that. So what they really need is they need the bacteria and the food that grows on that. So you can grab decor from other tanks and put rocks in there and then have a power head on a bigger tank. Or you can also set your power head to the glass and deflect it a bit for them so that they're not getting sandblasted. But these gobies, Stiphodon, the entire group of about 40 fish, they can actually hold on with their fins up front. They're like little suction cups. and they can hold on like you wouldn't believe. I mean, you would hurt them before you could get them off if they want to hold on. They're far stronger than any suction cup that's that size. And they also kind of reticulate and will hug a surface with kind of a gecko-y style. But like I was trying to show you guys, this riffle goby from Palau, which is out there in the Pacific Ocean, the South Pacific, but it's not in the hottest part of that ocean. And so these guys are living in water that has fallen from pretty much rain exclusively, from monsoons or rainstorms uh, just south of the equator. Whereas these other guys, they're living, you see, they've got the bigger fins still, and they are doing a little more swimming rather than just rock climbing up steep streams and things. Do you see his little mouth, his little dewlap? It's like a lizard. There you go. He's extended. There we go. Yes, I got it finally to show you guys. They blow these little bubbles just like a lizard. So it's very cool to see this evolutionary state. And by the way, I've had a few people lately commenting that my videos are inaccurate because I talk about the Ice Age and the world is only 6,000 years old because the Bible says so. And, you know, I have nothing against anybody for their religious views as long as they're not harming others. Um, you do you. But if you don't believe in evolution, this is not the channel for you. I am open to many things. Show me the proof, show me the facts, show me the peer reviewed article. And science isn't always right. It's just the best guess to solve the problem at the time, you know? It's a method to arrive at an answer, hopefully successfully. But these guys are all hanging out, and this can make for a really fun tank. You can get shrimp in there and things like that. And then, like I said, you can have the high power. You can also get reticulated Hillstream loaches. You could get, more autosynclus type fish. You could get fish that are more used to any sort of, rainbow fish. But pseudomagills are pretty great. Rasboras are okay, but I would go with Danios if you're not heating the tank, or celestial pearl Danios, or erythromicron, or tin winnie Danios. Those are all great. Kubota Rasboras, neon red Rasboras, and then we have our uh, our fake Hillstream, which you might say, Alex, how is this a Hillstream at all? And yes, I'll answer your questions soon, guys. But this is the fourth type of tank that's not heated, and it's still Hillstream. Why is that, guys? Well, it's because we've got two air stones, two sponge filters, and even though there is a flow in the tank, there is surface agitation, but really what we're working on is light to cultivate biofilm and algae so that the fish can eat that, because there's really no substitute for it in a pack or anything. What we want is years of junk building up. And this tank has been with the channel since it started. Uh, the the uh, the substrate is totally taxed, maxed out, but this is exactly uh, at the parameters that these new friends of the fish room want to be at. And you can see those little white dots moving around the glass. Those are little seed shrimp or little, crustaceans or copepods, whatever they are. They're little things. Also in here is another pygmy sunfish. So I put them in here. Uh, Folks at my club, Alyssa Bentley, if you know her from the channel, uh, she went ahead with me, and we went in together, I should say, and purchased some of the pygmy sunfish from a collection point that was a good high quality one from someone down in the south. And I put those in here. They're very young still, and so I put the four of them in here. There's We don't really know their gender or anything yet, so I put them in here. But that's going to be about the same temperature water as Taiwan's water up in the mountain streams and things. Now, those fish, they like still water. They don't need super oxygenated water. They like mossy water. They like water that is just uh, little bugs, little bugs hanging out, moving around. There's one right now, chilling. And so they're not who this tank is meant for. They just happen to be okay. They'll be happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise in here. But these lovely panda loaches, which I picked up today, didn't know I was going to pick them up, but it kind of turned around what we were going to talk about tonight and everything. I love them. They're one of my favorite fish. You guys happen to know that I had some, and I've tried to get them to breed for the longest time. Tonight I bought 10 of them. They are very young. They were very inexpensive compared to normal. They were only $6 a piece. So usually they were up to $30 a piece back in the day, but now the price seems to settle around $15 to $20 is what they ask for when they're a little bigger than this. These are itty bitty, man. You see my dirty fingernails. I was digging in the tanks. But these guys are not even a third of an inch, probably. Maybe a third of an inch. They're really teeny. Smallest fish I've probably bought at a store. But they're in, and they're adorable. And I'm going to try them again. They will get an inch and a half or so. But what happened was the other ones, a power filter actually chopped them up. And that's when the pet store owner, who has been in the hobby for over 50 years, said, why did you have a power filter for them? You could just oxygenate the water. It's really just for exercise and entertainment that they need the swift water, or if it only bacteria grows in that. Really what you want to worry about more is having high oxygenation, low TDS water, and surface agitation. So that is kind of the cheat if you have a 5 or a 10 gallon, is you just super saturate the water with very fine bubbles, multiple types of aeration, and then you get these lovely Alfuchs and granging stations. You can add rocks, you can add wood, things like that, and they're gonna munch on that. And that this tank needs to stay cooler. The way that I lost them, other than the few that got into the power head and got grinded up, pretty sad, was that they hit 84 degrees. The heater, and the day was hot. The heater did not respond properly. I think it just stayed on, perhaps. But one way or another, they got cooked. The water was warm to the touch, and I knew something was wrong. And then I saw maybe one died in the ammonia spike. But that was a while ago now, maybe 8 or 9 months ago. So this will be the new colony. Hopefully, if everything goes well. My luck lately has not been so hot with houses and health and whatever. But fingers crossed. Let's say that this will be. And the other great thing about these little loaches, I've got lots of videos on them, but they do not eat baby shrimp whatsoever. Even when they get an inch and a half long, and they aren't so cute as I think they're still cute, honestly. Sometimes they're cuter in my opinion, but a lot of people think this black and white zebra thing is the apex of cute, whereas they get this diamond pattern, like kind of a crisscross, and they turn a little more the color of these rocks where their white is, rather than stark white. I don't know the advantage of where they live in China to these colors. But the key, like I said, is going to be that oxygenation. And here we've got the Pygmy Gulffish, and they're not limited. They're not going to be hurt by too much oxygen, okay? So think about the limitations in a tank by who wants a certain thing versus who needs it. So sometimes you can get away with putting fish into a tank with things they want, and it works out well. and they're happy. But really, you just need to do the things they need, and don't keep a fish if you can't provide that, or get it to someone who can soon. So up here, you can see all this hair algae that's growing just from the outflow up here. This stringy um, stuff. This is where they're going to have to graze mostly. So it will do its job even at a 5 or 10 gallon tank. So those are just some options. And shrimp are another great option. I've got lots of videos on what to pair with shrimp, but the gobies, the shrimp, the rice fish, aka the madagas, even things like endlers, mollies, sailfins, sword fins, all great fish for warm to, I guess sometimes we say cool but not cold, tank water. So that's what's going on in here. And I think that fish actually benefit from the temperature going up and down night and day. The night, and also the plants, they off gas at night. They let out all of their CO2, and in the day they let out all of their oxygen. So all this going up and out, yes, it is cool for angelfish, but it kind of mimics some natural cycles that are happening. And like you saw, the water will be much warmer deep in the center of the tank. What are we having tonight? Oh, a 2020. Good selection, sir. Alright, guys. Sorry, don't look at my mess. Okay. Now I promised that I'd answer some questions. So I'm sorry that we missed so much. New Mexico. Little Bobby, what's up, buddy? And Electro Fry. So I missed, if you ask questions, I missed them because I was talking about the thing I said I was going to talk about somewhat in this live stream. I feel like we've touched on that enough. If you have questions related to it, that's great. But let's open the floor now for whatever. And Tony Ark, how's it going? How's it going, my friend? Yeah, they do change their look a lot, panda loaches. So, I am ready and willing. I am your servant. I'll also just mention, because I feel like it's the obligatory thing I need to do, but there's new artwork of mine, and actually, this artwork, right? This stuff, Clockwork Beta. So this is an illustration I did, and then there is the realistic Angry Mr. Beta. And both these images have been scanned in high quality, high fidelity, high def. And they're on the front of Made in America, high quality zip-ups. They're on t-shirts, masks, and all sorts of stuff, tights. I've got the same thing going, so it's two-sided. Doesn't say secret history living in your aquarium. I don't want to advertise the channel. Just if you like art, you like fish, check it out. It's just a way to support the channel if you want to do it that way. Plus, people just asked for it. So, yeah, check out the link below to my Teespring store, and that's the way you can check out some of the merch. There's Corydoras, there's a CPD, there are Neocaridina shrimp, and there's steampunk, there's normal, there's a salmon. I'll have angelfish up soon. We've got the Cory, it's a Julii Cory. And then we also have goldfish. So, yeah. Are they paying me yet? Anybody? Alright, guys. So another thing that I saw on a recent live stream of mine was we saw on a shrimp, on one of the short-nosed algae-eating shrimp from Nippon, we saw Over here. Over here. Can we find one? Can we find one? There's one. We found little white dealy boobs hanging from its nose, its rostrum. We're gonna have a video coming out soon where we play hands, shoulders, knees, and rostrums, knees and rostrums, hands, shoulders, knees, and rostrums, knees and rostrums, and carapace, and antenna, and mandibles. But basically, we saw these little white bugs. They they didn't look like bugs. They looked like little fishing lures or like I don't know what. But it was right on the nose, and it turns out it is something japanica. I'm not kidding. Hey, why is this snail in here? He's gonna mess up my genetics. He needs to leave. This is not the leopard ram's horn snail tank. Deaf leopard. No. Bad. Suction. Scalpel. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Is I'm going to feed him to the rest of... I'll feed him to the sharks. No, I'll feed him to the other snails. Don't. Look away. Ow! Alright. So... Also, the Medakas are in here. This tank, you can see I have low aeration. It needs to be similar to a rice paddy. It doesn't need flow. It doesn't need agitation. I can have lots of surface level plants. And this is a 5 gallon, so it's really 2.5 gallon now. And even though it's not being heated, it has a little set heater to 78. It's not plugged in. But we've got all these rice fish in here and all these baby shrimp in here. So, this is a nice, easy way of just showing you some of the really, really young shrimp. This is a nice, easy way to have an unheated tank. These critters living together in perfect harmony. And plants, honestly, some of them will really thank you for it, too. Looks like we're going to need to do some natural selection. Unnaturally. Well, he's still pretty pink. I don't know. Sometimes I get a little picky and start wanting them to be more uniform than is realistic. And we've got the blue, the black outline, blue rim endlers. They're in here mixing with Lucas Brett's fire and ice gold or fire, I suppose, endlers. So we'll see what becomes of that. I don't know. It was an experiment. I hope one of the male endlers gets one of the female endlers to be friendly, if you get what I'm putting down. If you're picking up what I'm putting down. Yeah, alright. I see what you're saying, little Bobby. I do. Oh, Chad C. You know, actually, I'm going to answer that first because, yep, Scudarelia japonica would be the parasite. You are so correct, and you are so winning that $50 and earning it. Lurking fish dreams, I see you, girl. Little Bobby, that was a great question, brother. About the pearlweed, and I'll get to it in a moment. But Chad, see the question about if it's best to build bacteria with heat. So up to a certain point, and that's usually near the body point of whatever. There are 2 Corydoras in this tank that I didn't know were in here. And I literally just sold a bunch of Corys and told people, I don't have any more Corys. I sold them all. Okay. Not a crucial piece of information to anybody watching the show. More of a, God damn it, Alex, you idiot, kind of a moment for me. And now I'm, hell-bent on getting them. Watch me ruin the whole aquascape. Yeah, that was pointless. There was no way I was going to catch them back in that corner. No way. That was silly. You silly, dumb human. Yep, silly dumb human Alex. Oh wait, what? I did have one in the net and it just got out? Ugh. Ugh. I don't know if you guys saw that better than I was paying attention, probably. Well, shoot. Because somebody wanted, I sold a bunch of those, like, Venezuela's orange Corridora high fin, or sail fins today, and this person wanted a group, and I had 3 left, and I was like, I really don't want to sell just 3 together. If I had a couple more, I'd sell them to you, or if you have other Cories. Okay, back to the bacteria question. I'm so sorry, guys. It's been a long day. I got a nap in though, and so I'm ready to rumble. My mind is working. It's pumping on all half a cylinder. But yeah, so whatever organisms you want it to live with. So if you're trying to just get nitrifying bacteria, anywhere between 65 and 85 is going to be fine. It probably will grow a bit faster in right up to around 84. That's kind of the cutoff. After a certain temperature, it doesn't matter. It just actually harms it. And same with if it's too slow, it's going to slow down the metabolism. And that usually is like 50 degrees. But you can still work anywhere within that. It's just, I recommend wherever you're going to keep your fish, whatever temperature you're going to keep your fish at. What did he just eat? Whatever temperature you're going to keep your fish at, that's the temperature I would, train the bacteria for, because that's makes sense. I don't know how to say it other than that. But, bacteria for a human body are going to want to be around 100 degrees, 98, 97, 96 degrees. And if you were culturing those, of course, you'd want to have that sort of temperature range. Crouching tiger, hidden goby. This little shrimp looks like he's the king of the world also. Sorry, guys. I still get sucked in and mesmerized by my own tanks. Yeah, I know I've seen all these fish. I've seen all these combos, but they're just fun to watch. And this one, it might be a little devilish to have baby plecos living in a non-heated tank, quote-unquote. But I think they're fine. Anything over 72, other than like a discus or an angelfish, they'll probably get through it, and especially if it's a matter of weeks, they'll probably be totally fine. It's when you get to like a month and whatnot, it starts to impede their immune function. These green shrimp, what do they want? Does anybody know what they want? All right, so now we're gonna get to little Bobby's question, which is pearlweed. Pearlweed is a great plant. It's very similar to sawassertang or water wisteria or hornwort for that matter. You can plant it. You can trim it tightly with CO2. It'll grow into like a little shrub. Kind of like moss too, like Java moss is similar. See, all these tanks here have just... This is a glass bottom tank, by the way, if you guys didn't know that from before. All these plants are sucking up nitrates from you. They may not look the prettiest, but they're all doing their job. If I had CO2 in here and a little bit higher or lower light, they would grow dense. If I had high light and CO2, they would grow out. They'd just be able to grow at a faster rate, probably. If I had really high light, then I might be able to actually get like a little shrub of sawassertang that you see in those really high-end aquascape tanks. But what that takes is manipulating it. And same with pearlweed and water sprite and things like that, is you really have to constantly be cutting it. Cut it. You want to stress it. You want to beat it up within an inch of its life and then let it come back. Beat it up within an inch of its life, let it come back. And then you'll get a very robust plant with lots of nodes of where it diverges and new pieces of it grow. And that really is, here's more hornwort. And it can grow, all these plants like this can grow so many different ways depending on that. So that's kind of the discussion, but it's a really good plant for fry and things like that. Carla, hello. Alex, I don't see pearling from my plants. Are they still releasing CO2 and oxygen? Oh, most definitely. They definitely are. Pearling happens when it is very extreme. Now, a lot of times people fake pearling. Honestly, when you see videos and you see photos of tanks, pearling is not necessarily like a state in which you're in nature, things would be like, oh, what a great